Hello, hello. Welcome to the Story Darlings podcast. I'm Sandra.
And I'm Tera.
And Tera, who do we have with us today?
Okay, guys, we have an author that you were first introduced to a year ago now, Sandra, like a little over a year ago in May of last year for one of Sandra's birthday books for me because so Sariah, Sandra read books that I enjoy for my birthday last year because we had a whole reading list that I was reading for Sandra. And so she returned the favor, and one of your books was, I just gave her like your name and I was like, pick out any of the books. And so today, guys, we are going to talk with Sariah Wilson, who you were introduced to way back in May, but more recently we read her first fantasy kind of cross romantasy book, A Tribute of Fire. And we will be coming back to A Vow of Embers.
Yes.
Soon. So I am about halfway through that book, so I'm like, I kind of just want to continue reading at this point, but hey. And then the third book is coming out in December, so.
Yes.
Don't have to wait very long.
I'm not a good waiter, but my husband marveled because I was reading this book and I was like, the third one comes out in December, and he's like, really? That's all? Like that's the whole wait you have? And he was marveling at how quickly authors can get books out because I would not be able to do that.
It's my publisher, I think, is what allowed that to happen because there was such a good response to Tribute of Fire. They were like, can you write the next books like quickly and we can get them out sooner? I'm like, yeah. So yeah, they worked with me to get that done fast.
A Tribute of Fire is such a page turner. Mm-hmm. And so Tera, I can tell she was restraining here to not fangirl because you're one of her favorite authors.
I was trying to like tone myself down a little bit.
But also Tera is a huge Greek mythology and just, historical romance and stuff. Yep, loves it, eats it up. So I can tell Tera's just over there vibrating with energy.
I am trying not to be a dork right now, but
I am the world's biggest dork, so please feel free.
Sariah, tell us more about that. So what are some of these dorky things or things that you enjoyed growing up that got you into this?
I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Like this is Reylo-esque, these books. What else? Everything I did was kind of dorky. I'm just such a pop culture person, and growing up, my dad loved fantasy, and so that's the books we had from him. And my mom read Harlequins, so like she got those ones that like buy the truckload, every month. And so that's what I had in my house to read growing up, and I loved both. And so when I got older, I realized I really loved romance, and there were so many fantasy books where I felt like that was missing. That it's written by men often. And their version of romance is you're hot and I'm hot and now we're together. So I'm like, where's all the good stuff in between? Like the hands brushing and, the glances. And so
the yearning.
I wrote romance. I wrote rom-coms because that's what I wanted. I wanted that romance. And I didn't see a way to do it in fantasy. And then what happens? ACOTAR, Fourth Wing. And I'm like, oh, yes, my time has come. I'm going to do this. And I was so excited. Like I wanted to do this for so long. So it was really fun to write.
I love that. I mean, I love all of them, but I love that the romantasy is becoming a thing because Sandra is a fantasy girl. I need that romance in there. I need that like love story. I'm not a world builder kind of person. Like that bores me sometimes. And so I love that we can like have two genres come together and me and Sandra can enjoy a same book.
Right. And it's wanting to cater to both those audiences, right? I want to have the romance, but I also want to have the world building and what's happening and what's the magic and, that kind of thing. So it's fun.
Sariah, I think Tera was trying to walk me through your backlist, and it was something like almost 30 novels or some high number like that. And with everything being that romance, how did you make the switch? Like, did your writing process change at all? Like, what does that look like with crossing that?
This was necessity. This was, we had a medical emergency in my family, and insurance refused to cover the costs. It was like life or death kind of thing. And we had to take out a second on our house to pay the medical bills. We didn't have any other choice. And obviously we were panicking. And my husband's like, what are we going to do? And I said, okay, I'm going to write a book. And he's like, I love you and I support you, but you will not make enough money. He knows, he knew what I was getting for my contracts. There just wasn't a way for that to happen. And I had wanted to write this romantasy for years, and I had it in my head for years. And I said, I'm going to write that romantasy, and it's going to take care of things, And he's like, okay, but obviously very stressed. Um, and then my editor at the time that I was working with my rom coms, she had talked to me about this romantasy, and she said, well, can I see it? And I thought she just wanted to, we're friends. I thought she just wanted to read it. The next thing I know, she's calling up and offering a preempt, which is the publisher offering you enough money so that you won't take it anywhere else. And I was kind of like, well, I have to do that, and the first check that I got paid off the remainder of the second on our home. And so that's
Mm.
why I wrote
Wow.
it. And this book is so special to me because of that. Like, it has just so many little things. Like, I had a sister who died when I was 17, and the book initially was supposed to come out on October 29th, which was her birthday. And I'm like,
Oh,
that is so,
I'm gonna
it just felt like
cry.
this, like a cosmic thing, it's very, very special to me. And just how all these little things happen like that along the way that was just really, really neat.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, we're having a moment. Sorry.
Sorry.
No, I love hearing that. I'm glad that it has been able to do that for you. It's very a long time coming, it sounds like. Very,
Yeah,
very well deserved. I'm happy to hear that.
thank
Well,
you.
and I am very happy that it was so well received that there's a second and now a third, and I don't know how long you intend this to be, and I'm not gonna ask you because, like,
No,
you
it
know,
is a trilogy. I will tell you that. It's a trilogy. The story will end with the next book, but there may be some spin-offs coming in the future. So,
Ooh, I
same
like a
world, just
spinoff.
with different characters.
Yeah.
I was telling Sandra a little bit about, like, your backlist, and some of the characters and some of them, like, at least the names appear in other ones,
Yeah.
and I simply adore hearing the name of somebody I met before coming into a book that I'm reading now, and so even spin-offs or the same world, I love.
Mm.
Me
What are
too.
we calling this? Are we calling this Survivors? Is that what this is?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it gets received and if
Okay.
people like it. So
So are you a planner then, since these
I
came
am
out
not.
so quickly? You're
No,
not? Okay,
I am
my mind is
100% am
blown.
not. I literally, it's so weird how I do this. I can't even explain it to anybody else. I sit down and I write it, and it just comes out. And then every day I go back and I read what I wrote the day before, and I fix it if it needs to be fixed, edit a little bit, whatever. And then I write the next chapter. And I always kind of know one chapter ahead what's going to happen, and not anything after that. So I'm always like, I hope when I get to the next chapter, I know what the next chapter is going to be. Um, but yeah, I very much am a pantser, and I make the whole thing up as I go along. I write it in a month. I mean, I wrote Tribute to Fire in, I want to say 39 days. It's like 150,000 words. No outline, no. And pretty much what you read is what I submit. Like, it's very much, I don't have a lot of changes or stuff. It's just usually grammatical things they fix. So it just kind of happens that way. But when I write, it's like my whole world. Like, I, for a month, do nothing else, right? Like, it's just at my computer, sun up to sundown. And my kids are older, so I can do that. But it just works for me. It's like I'm living in that world. It feels so real to me that it's very easy to like stay there and write what's happening. So yeah, I mean, I knew how this book, I knew what all the little cliffhangers would be from the beginning, and I knew, um, like I know how it ends. The whole trilogy ends, but like stuff happens when I'm writing, like the dream sequences between them in A Tribute to Fire. For me, that initially was going to be something else. It was supposed to be like almost like a prophecy or something of what's supposed to
Mhm.
be. And then I'm like, wait, no, they're in here together. And I didn't figure that out until like the end of the book. When he tells her is when I realized that that was happening. So, you know, stuff like that happens to me all the
Oh.
time. I'm like, oh, he's been there the whole time. Okay. So,
You
I
get a little surprise too.
yeah.
I love that you're as surprised as we are, reading the book by what the characters are doing or, right now I'm living the love story slash love hate that is going on right now, and yeah.
I was so excited to get to book two for that because I thought this is where it kicks in. My favorite, Enemies to Lovers is my jam forever. If I could only read one kind of book, it would be Enemies to Lovers. I thought, but so often we get these books that are like rivals to lovers or mildly annoyed to lovers. And I'm like, no, like they want to kill each other. Like, let's get that. And you can't write that in contemporary. I've tried to write enemies to lovers in contemporary. You have to be so careful because you can't like have him stabbing her. Like, that's bad. At least in fantasy you can get away with it, right?
You can.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
we can have them trying to kill each other. It's okay. But
Uh,
yeah, I love the real like I hate you so much, and I love that stuff.
I did a few times get the Rowan and Aelin vibe of, like, he just punched her in the face.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yep, I can see that enemy right now. It's coming out."
And I did try to be careful with that too. You'll notice in their interactions, she always instigates. He basically just holds
Uh-huh.
her off until she tires herself out, and then he. So I
Yeah.
don't have him ever being aggressive. And I don't like it. So, but yeah, I'm careful with that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, she is definitely the instigator, and
Yeah.
uh, it's not even like I was trying to think grumpy, like, happy grumpy or whatever, the
Grumpy Sunshine.
sunshine. Yeah, sunshine. But it's like grumpy grumpy in
Yeah.
here, and it's hilarious. And Sandra knows this about me, but I love snark, and
Mhm.
there's so much snark going between those 2. Love it.
Yes.
So,
I can't help it. I love Snark too, which you probably know if you read my other books. So
yes, yes. I think that that's why I love your book so much because it's just right up my alley of a love story and snark.
yeah, that's probably like my theme, right? Like Snark and love. So
Yeah. But for everybody else who has not dove headfirst into Sariah Wilson, my first introduction was The Royals of Montera, which I
you're
think
old
was your
school.
first,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't find anything before that, but yeah, that was my first introduction, and I believe it was on Kindle Unlimited that I read. Like, you're like, I'm like, okay, I'll pick this one up. I'll see what this is about, and then I think that one was 5 books deep, and then
Three in like a novella,
yeah,
two
okay.
novellas. Yeah.
Um, and then I went into the awestruck, one, so, like, the love strucks and loved those, and then there's a lot of the standalones, which are the ones where I've seen some of, like, the love struck people, like,
Yeah.
bridging in, and I'm like, "Oh." So for everybody who's wanting to know a little bit more outside of the romantasy, those are like the kind of series ones. And then you had a couple anthologies in there too, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
With other
I had one with
authors.
like Christina Lauren and Abby Jimenez and Sally Thorne and Jasmine Guillory and Ashley Poston. I'm like, why am I in this group? Like, I don't belong here. Oh, but that was really fun. That was for Amazon, and that did really well. I think they said it sold over 1 million copies. That was really cool.
Oh, I've
Um,
seen that. Yeah, I wanna pick a
yeah,
copy up.
they're cute. They
I
were fun. I wrote that one in 1 day because they're like, we need this by Monday, and it was like Friday, and I wrote it on Saturday. So
Okay,
it
well,
has to be short, so it's fast.
now now we know why Sariah is so prolific. She's just
Well,
a
Yes.
and that
fast writer.
that Montera one, my story is from Montera in an anthology, so you might like that to kind of check it on the family again.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Have you read
Because
Party Favors?
no, I don't think I have that one.
So in Party Favors, the heroine is a huge fan of the Monteran royals. She's obsessed with them.
Okay.
So we get to
Okay.
Oh,
see what
how
they're doing and what's going
fun.
on with them. Yeah. So it's a way to bring those characters back for my early readers who love them. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while since I've read those. I might have to reread them because it was, like, 2015 that I read, like, those, and I remember, like, the bits and pieces, but I don't remember, like, specifics in there, so I might have to reread.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That book royal date is what got me my publishing contract because Amazon was running a contest called Kindle Scout at the time. And it was kind of like American Idol, but for books. And so they put up a
Mhm.
cover on like the first chapter. And I finished Royal Date the day they announced that. And I was like, I'm going to enter that. And I just had this feeling like I was going to win. It wasn't like an arrogance thing. It was just kind of like, I don't know, like just I knew. And I did. I ended up winning one of the first 10 winners. And when the woman who was in charge of it, she's like, why did you enter? What made you want to enter? And I said, well, I really want to work with Montlake, which is their romance house, but I didn't have an agent, and there's nobody to submit to them. She goes, oh, interesting. And I think like a week later, the person I now know is like head of the entire company at Montlake called me up. And I really thought it was a networking thing. I thought it was like let's get to meet each other, foot in the door. And at the end of the call, she's like, okay, well, I'm going to give you a 2-book contract to follow up the Royals of Montera. I was like, what? What is happening? Okay. Like nobody's publishing stories like nobody else has a story like this. Like it's just so weird how I got into publishing. But yeah, Royal Date's the book that got me, into traditional publishing, got my foot in that door.
Well, I loved it, so
I love it too.
I'm really glad that I lucked into seeing it and diving into it.
It just sounds like your preparedness matched up and made you be on this path, and it was meant to be. I love hearing
I
that.
think they talk about that, but luck is like 90% being ready for it. You know, that when
Yes.
something comes along
Yes.
that you see it and you're like, yeah, and you're ready for it. Um, I just think to people are like, I just want something to happen and it just this like amazing thing. And I think you have to be ready. You have to be working.
So, were you writing a lot in, like, high school and beforehand too, or when did you, like, actually sit down and you're like, "I wanna do this"?
You guys are gonna get all my long stories today. Um,
Hey, we love
I
stories.
well, I loved reading growing up, and but I never thought about being a writer. I didn't know anything about it. Like, how would you become a writer? Like, I lived before the internet. You know, there was no way to find out how you became a writer. So it just never really occurred to me. And I, my oldest son, when he was 3 years old, he was diagnosed as being autistic, and there was like therapies and treatments that he needed that back then. And this is like he's like 26 years old now. That back then didn't work, insurance wouldn't cover and stuff, and we had to raise like $10,000. And so again, this is before the days of Kickstarter or anything like that. What do we do? And so we tried several different things. And one of the things we did was people in my neighborhood gave us stuff to have like a big garage sale and to keep all the proceeds. So I sent out press releases because back when we had newspapers and to get journalists to come to the house to cover it, you know. And this one woman contacted me and she came to the house and I opened the door and she's like, before I come inside, I have to ask you, are you a writer? And when I had been thinking about how do we make this money, the thought that occurred to me was write a book. And I'm like, well, that's stupid. I'm not going to do that. Like, you know, and I just missed it. So her saying, she's like, are you a writer? And it was like this really weird moment. I'm like, why would you ask me that? And she said, because your press release was so well written, I assumed that you were a writer. And it was like heavens parting, lightning, you know, I'm like, all right, I got it, you know, write a book. So that's actually why I started writing. So that's how got me into it.
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
It feels like there have always been, like, I don't wanna like, fates or
Like cosmic
let's
fate.
go,
Yeah.
like, romantasy and the gods as they're working through the characters in the books, like, in your life, like, "Nope, I'm gonna steer you this direction.
Yeah.
I want you
That's
to
Essentially. Yeah.
go over here. This is
Yep.
where you need to be." And I'm seeing that a lot for Leah in the book too, like, just being kind of nudged that way. Did you intentionally do that? Like, was it kind of mirroring what you felt went, or it's
Not at
just
all.
kind of what happened?
But that's very perceptive, and I had never actually thought about that until you mentioned it. But so no, it was not intentional. And like I said, the stuff that happens, like I called the book initially, it was called A Tribute of Fire and Steel, because if you remember, there's a conversation that she has with Demaratus where he says instead of giving them earth and water, you give them fire and steel.
Mhm.
So I'm like, that's a great the tribute is then as a fire and steel. And it was probably when I was almost done. I came downstairs to my husband and I said, Leah's a tribute of fire. Like that hadn't even occurred to me. I'm like, that's her. Like, how did I not know that? Like seriously. So yeah, I just like I kind of write these things and I realize it as it goes along and people point things out. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's true. So yeah,
I don't think I could ever be a writer. I get too bogged down into things. And you just said you just sit there and write and it kind of just like flows out of you. Do you have an idea as you like did you have an idea of what this book would be? Like
yes, I
even a
knew what the
vague
thing would be.
idea.
Yeah, I knew what the cliffhanger would be. And I knew that like the race is gonna happen because it's based on a real life story. I don't know if you knew that. But the Locrian maidens were real. And so when I found out about them, I'm like, why do I not know about this? Like, I love Greek mythology. How have I never heard of this? And it's just honestly because it hasn't been studied very much.
Mhm.
Because who does the research? Usually men, right? This is very much a
Mhm.
woman's story. And so I was very drawn to it, and I'm like, I need to tell this story. I need to tell it. So it started forming like, who would be able to race? Who would be able to afford? She'd have to be a princess, and it would be important to her to save her land, and and then who's her counterpart? Who are we dealing with as the enemy, and how did they meet? And I don't know if you guys know Charlie Holmberg. She's a fantasy author. She's a friend of mine. But I gave her Tribute of Fire to read, and she's like, so I read it, and you had them kiss the first time I met, and she's like, oh no, Sariah, you've done it. You ruined it. The tension's gone. What have you done? And she's like, and then you pulled it out. She's like, you did it. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
I love tension, but I thought for me it was fun to establish that attraction right away, so it's there, and then for her to find out he's an enemy, how upset she was. But yeah, so I knew some small things like that, and I knew that like initially Quinn was not her sister. Initially Quinn was going to be like a household servant, and then like what would be more impactful? Oh, if they were related, okay, she can be adopted, and And so I started kind of
Yeah.
going through this and um, changing things, but like, and I knew Demaratus would be the way he is because he's a Spartan essentially, and I love Spartans.
Mhm.
So yeah, I know some things, and then it's just kind of like I remember when I got to the temple, I'm like, wait, I have to like tell the whole story from here. Like this is just there's so much more happening. But like the girls in the Adelphia just popped in my head. Like I could see them just like so clearly, and their personalities and how different they all were, and
Mhm.
Io's secret, and yeah, it just kind of comes as I'm writing, and so yeah, I do know where things are going. I know what things have to happen, but then it's like when the king dies, I did not intend to do that, but I like, oh, if I make him die, then that ups the stakes, it ups the timeline. So yeah, things like that just kind of happen. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that works.
Yeah.
You mentioned running to tell your husband the title stuff. Do you bounce ideas off of him a lot, or how
No,
receptive is he to that
he
kind of
is
thing?
not a
'Cause
he listens. He's really good about listening. He's not a reader, and so he's like, just have him say I love you. I'm like, that doesn't work. Um,
I love
Like a man. Uh,
it.
like that's all you need, right?
but what I feel like he's really good for is he just listens to me, and so I'm
Nice.
bouncing things off of him, but I'm doing it for myself. I'm basically having it
Mhm.
like a personal monologue with him. Like I'm just going, okay, I want this and this and this to happen, but just talking it out loud helps me.
You're just talking to him so you don't look crazy.
Yeah,
Talking to yourself.
yeah, he knows his
Yeah.
job.
So I had this conversation with my husband the other day because we were watching like the Family Feud, and it was the top 5 songs that are like baby making songs,
Oh
basically.
my gosh.
And my husband dumbly was like, "They're all men." I'm like, "Do you not understand why they're all men singing?" Like, because he threw out Mariah Carey, and I was like, no, no, that's
Your husband.
wrong. Like, no." And I had to explain to him like that it's the women listening to music, not the men. So like men are just
They need to read
not
more
as
romance
into
books.
that like romance type thing. I'm like, oh
It's true.
gosh.
That's so
Um,
funny.
but yeah, I, I I was just like, no, like the romance is dead with you right now. Like,
Poor Justin. This is only out there in the ether.
yeah.
Anywho, Sariah, I was peeping on social media and I saw that you went to a conference recently. What was uh I want to surprise Tara with this because she's not ever on social media, but you had your picture taken with someone
I
that I
did.
saw
With
and it was
someone,
really
yeah.
cool. You want to
I
tell us a little?
got invited out to FanX to speak on a panel. And I got there, and the other authors all come in. We're sitting there, and we're all sitting there in silence. And they turned to me and they're like, "You're the moderator." I'm like, "What?" Like, "You're the mod." I'm like, I had no idea, none. So I moderated and was on my first panel at FanX at the same time. But there's a couple people I met. One of them was Henry Winkler, who's very special to me. He, my mom's when I was a baby, before I could talk, I would sit on the floor and put my thumbs up and go, "Hey," I love the fawns. And so I got
Aw.
to tell him that. And then 5 years ago, I met him at the SAG Awards with my daughter, and he came over to sign an autograph. And he told my daughter that she was beautiful and brave and strong. And I'm like, and she's carried that with her. She's 18 now, And I thanked him for that. And he was so sweet. Oh my gosh, such a dream. Like I was shaking meeting him because I was like, "It's Henry Winkler." But after the panel, I went to go get in Ben Barnes's line because Ben Barnes was there. And
The Darkling himself.
yeah, I said I'm waiting in line to see the Darkling. But I have had some bad like Comic Con experiences. I'll tell you, Anthony Daniels is not a nice person. There's been some real negative ones, and so you never really know what you're going to get when you get up there, right? But so I'm standing in this line and I'm able to watch him. He is being so kind and considerate to his line went slow because he was spending time with every single person and was like talking to them and interacting with them, taking photos. And it was just so nice to watch, because you see what a nice person he is. And when I was waiting for my turn, they have somebody who kind of runs the booth, like keeps things
Mhm.
going. And I was talking to this woman and she's like, I mentioned that to her and she goes, "Oh yeah, what you see is what you get. Like he is really like this." She's like, "I've been so impressed by him because I've seen so many people who are terrible." The reason that I wanted to go meet him was in the Paid Bridesmaid. There's a line in that book where the hero comes up to the heroine and says, "Is this seat taken?" And she says, "Well, I was saving it for Ben Barnes, but he looks like he's a no-show." And so I took that over to him and he was delighted. And he signed that page. He put, to Sariah, love Ben Barnes. And at the bottom, he like underlined where he said she's no show. He goes, "I'm here," which I just thought was so cute.
Oh,
I love
So
it.
yeah, we took a picture, but he was so like, "Congratulations on the book," and I'm like, "Well, this came out like 3 years ago, but okay, thank you," because I was like so invested in Shadow and Bone at the time. Like I love Ben Barnes,
Oh, yeah.
so
Yeah.
it was just so neat to have that experience and have him just be like so like playing along with it and having fun and being like excited, and it was really fun. It was just really cute. So
I'm glad to hear that he is not an asshole and he
yes,
no,
lived up to
that
yeah.
that would have been sad.
yeah,
Mhm,
he's
mhm.
not. He's wonderful.
How fun. So you moderated, everything went smoothly, I'm guessing, and
I hope so.
you
I think so. I don't know.
Nobody told you otherwise?
Nobody told me otherwise. I think it was okay. But fortunately, we got to a point where people could ask questions, and I was like, I was so worried nobody would ask. But then, like, 20 people got to ask questions. I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have done this like 20 minutes ago, right? Like, just ask us questions. Let's do that. You live and learn.
I know for me personally, I get really nervous speaking in front of large audiences. Is that you at all, or are you just take it?
I am such an introvert. Like, I hate social stuff. Like, I do not go to parties. Like, I have one friend who throws one party a year, and I go to that just because I love her. And that's like the only thing I go to. Like, when I go to like reader events, like conventions and stuff, I do not go dance that night. I do not, I am in my room and I have people all day. I do not have anything left. But I don't mind public speaking. It is so weird. I enjoy it. I don't know why. I'm never afraid of getting up in front of people or talking. Like I just doesn't phase me. I don't know. It's weird. Like you think I would. Like being an introvert, you think it'd be really hard, and it doesn't. So I don't know why.
Maybe it's because you don't have to individually interact with them, so, like,
Maybe that's what
doesn't
it is. Yeah,
decharge your battery.
yeah,
Like, I know
that's
when
true.
I'm up and I don't have to actually talk to somebody, I just get to talk at them. It's not as
Yeah.
battery draining,
That's
maybe.
probably what it is. Yeah, but yeah, it doesn't phase me or worry me at all.
Sariah, what's your educational background like? What did you
I have a bachelor's degree in history, which my parents were
Okay,
so mad about at the
history.
time. They're like, "What are you gonna do with a degree in history?" And here I am. I mean, when I before I wrote this book, because it was based on real life events, I'm like, I need to know as much about this as I can. So I got a university not far down the road, and so I went and like got a library card. I was like stacks of books like this, and I
Love
read
it.
through them. And so I read for several months just because I thought I want to get this. I want to know. And the thing that I think is so great about research is that it informs the story. Um,
Mhm.
like there's something that happens in A Vow of Embers that I don't know if you're that far yet, but it's based on a real life event. So I don't want to spoil it for you if you haven't read it. The goose is from history, the goose guard, because
Oh, the
there was this,
gooses?
yeah, because there was an invasion. I think the Gauls were invading the Romans, and they had sent over meat to the dogs. Dogs are
Mhm.
keeping watch. They sent meat so the dogs would be eating, and it had like stuff laced in it so they would, fall asleep or whatever. So these Gauls are sneaking into the city. They're going to kill everyone. And by Juno's temple, there was a flock of geese, her sacred animal. And they saw those guys and went nuts, woke up all the Romans. They came out, fought them off. I mean, civilization is the way it is now because geese alerted the Romans, these invaders. There's just so many historical stories like that that are so fun, and you put them in your book, and it does inform. Like, I'm like, I'm gonna have to have that happen, So
You are speaking my, like, love language right now because I absolutely adore those, like, little stories that if this had just went a little bit differently, like, society as we
yeah,
know it would be completely different.
yeah.
And I remember when we first, like, Sandra's like, "Hey, there's a romantasy coming out by the author you love. Let's read that one." And then I dove into it, and I'm like, "Wait, there's Greek. There's there's Roman. There's oh my goodness." It's because my educational background is I did classics as my bachelor's degree. So I have like that Greek and Roman civ and all of those and Latin and stuff. And so it was my little love language. I'm actually going to be hopefully teaching a course on
Oh, awesome.
Greek and Roman like mythology and how that like made the world today the way it is. So
Sounds
again,
like
I think,
love
a
language
fun
here.
place to plug some
Yeah,
stories.
yeah.
I'm going to have an assignment. So if anybody listens to this before they sign up for my class, I'm going to have an assignment where they have to pick out uh something in modern day society, like a book or a movie or something,
How fun.
and link it back to the story that it was in ancient times. So this would be a perfect story for somebody to pick out to do that with and dive into the actual myth.
Yeah, I've
Mm.
always loved Greek mythology. We had a language arts field day team in 6th grade, and I was the Greek mythology expert. Because I just always loved them. And someone said once, like, nothing that you do is ever really wasted. And I thought, here I am, you know,
Mm.
40 years later, writing this book where I'm relying heavily on this Greek mythology background that I had from when I was younger because I was so obsessed. But yeah, I actually spoke a lot to professors of classical antiquity. And like,
Uh-huh.
there's one guy who's nearby, and I'm like, okay, I need to know more about the Locrian maidens. Who else knows? And he's like, I'm pretty sure you know more about the Locrian maidens right now than anybody else.
Than
And I was
anybody
like,
else, yeah.
yeah, I'm like, that might be true because I did
You
so much research.
That's pretty
So
cool.
you
Yeah.
are officially the
Mhm.
the what is the word
That's
I'm looking
me.
for?
Subject
I
matter expert.
Yes, I'm like the expert is the word I was looking. I just lost words, but the
yeah,
expert on that.
yeah,
Mm.
I thought the
Awesome.
whole thing was so fascinating, and the scholars are arguing that did they really get killed? Were they just scapegoats? But I'm like, the fact that they had to send two every year says to me they were getting killed,
Yeah.
because they didn't come back. So
Well, and you mentioned earlier that, the men were the ones writing this, obviously, this
yeah,
story. And I think I also pointed out, like, the men were the ones that were responsible for what happened, and then the women were the ones having to pay for what happened,
yep,
to Sandra. And I'm like, it's just the way it was, but it also is just so maddening that that is even still today the society
yeah,
that we live in. The
yeah,
men are making the mistakes, and then the women are the ones
The
having to get
tribute.
us out
Pay
of
for it. Yeah.
yes, the
yeah,
ones paying for said mistakes. But
yeah.
um,
It is true.
we have not learned from that apparently since ancient
We have
times.
not. Well, I'll tell you, as a fan of Greek mythology, you might appreciate this. The number of like 2 and 3 star reviews I've gotten because the character's name is Jason. I'm like, do you not know about Jason and the Argonauts? The name Jason's like in the Bible, dude. Like, it's pretty old. It's an old name, and it was deliberate. I picked that name for a reason because of the shadiness of Jason. I was telling the reader something, and nobody. I think one person
And
got it.
the like sailing, like
Yeah,
I caught
it
on
is
to that.
sailing.
Like I'm
Yeah,
like, ooh, Jason the Argonauts, because when we meet him, he was a sailor,
right,
right? And that is exactly what Jason was. And then
right.
we find out Jason's background was a little bit more than just
Yes,
a sailor,
right. I thought he was
even
kind of
in
shady and did some bad things.
mythology.
So yeah, I thought it was deliberate,
Yeah.
and nobody got it. So
Well, I got it. So,
I'm
Yeah, you
glad. I'm
did
glad
get
you
it
did.
because I did not get it. I don't have this background, and
so
Tara was explaining to me.
it was worth throwing in. I like disagree with people's star ratings a lot, but I just don't understand like having something like a name. If you don't get it, then that's fine. But like, why are you going to give a 2-star rating because of a
Yeah,
name?
they just said they couldn't get past it. Yeah, but it is what it is. People
How
Yeah.
do
like what
you
they
get
like.
through
So
those? Yeah, how do you get through those negative reviews? Do you try and avoid reading any reviews
oh
and stay
yeah,
out of that
yeah.
space, or
Like, authors should not be on Goodreads. Like, that's just not a good place for us. And sometimes it's hard because people will tag you. Like, I don't even want to be
oh
tagged if you're like,
no.
I love this, but and here's my complaint. Like, I give it 5 stars, but I don't want to hear that. It's like it like ruins my fragile psyche. Please don't tell me. That's the hardest thing for me when people tag you. If it's all praise and glowing, then yes, please tag me. I love it. It helps me because the honest truth is when you put a book out there, you don't always hear what people think. You don't know if people like it. You don't know really anything about it. And you don't want to read reviews because you don't want that negative stuff to be in your head. So you don't get a lot of feedback. And the thing that was fun about A Tribute of Fire was I spent months trying to get people to read that book because I knew it was coming out for free as part of Kindle, oh
Yeah.
Amazon First. I probably contacted, I think I counted like 6,000 people, and I got like 2,000 of them to agree to read the book. So that's all I did for like 3 months because it was so important to me this book do well. What was fun about that though, because I reached out first, I had so many people like on Instagram who were like, I guess, like tweeting me the book as they're reading it, like sending me DMs, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, what about this?"
Mhm.
And I like, I love this, and it was really fun because that's the first time that's ever happened to me with a book that I got to see
Aw,
readers
yeah.
enjoying it as they're reading it, and experiencing it with them while because they're filming themselves reading it. Like one girl was like, "I'm reading the last chapter, and I'm just going to film myself reading it," and it was so fun to watch her being like, "Oh," you know.
and
um,
and you're
so
in your brain seeing what she's
I
reading
know what she's
based
saying.
off of
Yeah,
her reaction.
yeah,
Um,
exactly what she just read.
you're like,
But yeah,
I know what part you're at.
people don't always get
Hmm.
authors don't always get a lot of feedback, and you don't want to get read reviews. Because actually, at the beginning of my career, I would get a negative review, and I'd be on the floor, like in the fetal position. It's just someone said,
Yeah.
and this is true. It's like your book is your baby. You've put so much of yourself into it, and so much time and energy. And it's like people come along and go, "Ugh, your baby is really ugly." That's you can't not take that personally, right? Like it's just
Yeah.
So, but I'm much better now than I used to be because what I've kind of realized is that every book is not for every person. That people love what they love. And I have readers who are like, oh, I love you, but I hated this book. I don't like this trope. And that's okay. Not everything is for everyone. And I think so many authors forget that, especially new authors, that they want so much to be lauded and praised. And I get it. I totally get it. Go look at like your favorite book, the book that you think is the best book that was ever written. And I promise you, there's going to be thousands of 1 stars on that book, because there are people who absolutely hated it. Because it's just about, so you got to find your
Yeah.
readers, people who like what you write.
Do you find the marketing piece difficult? From what I've seen, it requires so much time, right? And so much energy, being present, looking for readers, seeing if people who agree to read it, if they'll actually review it. How exhaustive is of a process is that for you?
Really, really exhausting. This is not my forte. I am not a marketer. And I do things like I have a friend who runs Facebook ads for me. She's like an expert at Facebook ads, and I pay her and I pay those
That's a good
fees for
friend.
Facebook
Yeah,
ads,
yeah, yeah.
But it's finding people like that can help you. Like I hired someone to do social media for me with this book. She's a Bookstagram expert. And so, I paid her. Ruby can read. She's excellent work. And I hired a publicist. I wasn't going to hire a publicist, but I ended up hiring a publicist who got me on TV and, got these articles written about me. And I spent a lot of money. We had to go to debt. I spent a lot of money because it's all so expensive. But like I said, I wanted this to be a hit. I wanted it to do well, and you
Yeah.
can't control it. It's so hard. Like you can do what you can do, and then it's out of your hands. You just don't know. And sometimes your book just skyrockets and takes off and goes viral on TikTok, and you're suddenly got this totally different career. It just there's no way to predict it. Like my agent's always telling me, she's like, Sariah, if we knew how to make every book a success, we would do it every time. Like every book would be that way. So we're not saving this for some books. We would want every book to be making millions of dollars. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I hate marketing, and I'm so impressed. Like Megan Quinn, she is amazing at marketing. She's so good. So yeah, I see these authors, and I'm like, you're so cool. It's so good how you do this, but it's so hard for me. It's such work, and my dream, my dream is to one day be at a point where I don't have to pitch my books to people anymore. Like people just want to buy them. That's just what I want. That's what every author wants, right? So
Yeah.
Well, with this trilogy, and you said so you have one spinoff planned for it or possibly more
two
spinoff?
at the moment.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So we'll see.
Is that what you're working on right now?
I will be fairly soon.
I am trying to, like, in my brain, figure out what these spin-offs could be. I think I have an idea if they've been introduced so far. I've obviously not read the third book, but I have an idea of what one might be
Who do you think?
based off of. Well, okay, but this is kind of spoilery, so Sandra, you're gonna have to edit this part out, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so we got introduced to the fact that maybe there's some additional couples forming halfway through the second book. I'm trying not to give too many spoilers because Sandra is over here.
There was one in the first book. I was like, wait, is this going to happen? Okay, but
And I'm thinking maybe those might make a
I think if I did those,
like Quinn, maybe?
Yeah.
Like
I
we
think if
might
I
see
did-
Quinn again.
we're going to see her again. But I think if I did Quinn's story, it would be probably like a novella. Like I would go back and show you what was
Mhm.
happening off screen.
Okay, so these are like full-blown spin-offs, not just
Yeah.
like we peek back into the world. Oh, okay. So then I'm thinking like maybe we will have like the priestesses. Maybe we dive a little bit further into the story of the priestesses. Because we're finding out, Sandra, close your ears. We're finding out right now we found out a little bit ago in this book that what we currently believe may not actually be what is going on or what the history is. And
Come
so
talk to me
maybe
after
we
you
find
finish. After you finish A Vow of Embers, come talk to me. This will be a different
okay.
conversation.
Okay.
I'll just say that.
Okay. Okay, well that will be tonight, so I may be messaging you later and being like, "Hey, about this."
Yeah. DM me. I'm here.
thank you for saving this, Sarai, because I detest spoilers.
Yeah, I was trying very hard to like not
I'm
give
like, I'm
too
still
many. I'm
lost.
like, we've met people, but like, because
You'll see.
I don't care about spoilers, like because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
spoil it for myself a lot of times because I like read something and then I go down in a rabbit hole and like I research what it was that you just said to see if it was true or to whatever. Like the story of the maidens, like
You can't help
did
yourself.
this
Yeah.
did this, and then I end up spoiling things for myself. But so I don't mind those because I do it myself. But Sandra is do not spoil anything for me. I want to live it in that moment. So I was trying very hard to like not give away anything, but like,
Don't worry, I'm still in the dark.
you might understand, Sariah, what I'm trying
I
to put
understand.
down. But Sandra doesn't still. She's still like, I don't know what you're talking about. So
I'm trying to plan it to where I finish reading the second one right before the final book comes out because my short-term memory, I want to remember everything.
yeah, that gets
Good
us
idea.
because Sandra and I are both very like we read a book and then if we're trying to dive too far into a conversation about it, we will have both forgot like key points.
Yeah.
And so we have to read right before we record if we're recording on a specific book. And so
I mean,
that's why I was saying like I would probably reread some of your earlier books and be like, "Wait, what? What happened?
I
Oh,
had to reread
okay.
the books
This
before
is
I wrote the next book. Yeah, I had to do
yeah,
it too
like,
because
oh,
I'm like,
I
because I was going through and
missed
saying, okay,
things."
I mentioned this. Now I need to, this needs to be solved at some point. This needs to be explained at some point. I wanted to make sure that I got everything. And I think I did. I think I got pretty much any question you're going to have in book 1 or 2 is answered in 3. And when I was writing 3, it was just felt like revelation, 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 because there was so much to fill in and do that it's just going to be one thing after another. Like there's just going to be so much that you'll finally figure it out. You'll finally have the answers.
I love this. I'm so excited. I will need to reread the first 2 before we get to that point though. I also like I bought them on Audible. And I am very like iffy on Audible sometimes based off of who's reading them and like kind of how they do that. I enjoy the people that you picked out or however that goes. How did that go? Did you pick them out? Did your
No,
publisher?
what usually happens is my publisher contracts with the company Brilliance Audio, and recently, in the beginning, they didn't do this, but recently, what they do is when I have a book written, they'll send me like 3 samples and say, "Who do you prefer? Out of these 3 voices?" And they all read the exact same passage, so it's a fair comparison. I don't remember her last name. Her first name is Therese, but she's a pretty well known narrator. She's fairly popular, and I just thought she did fantastic. So they picked her, and I thought that was great. I can't listen to audio of my books. It's kind of like how when you hear yourself on a recording and you're like, I don't sound like that. That's what my books do for me. Like it's my voice, but it's like wrong. Like it's not my voice. So I don't listen to my own audio, but I've heard that people really love the audio of this, and that makes me very excited.
Yeah, yeah. I may have purchased this in multiple venues just because like sometimes I enjoy listening to it like if I don't have the brain space to actually read, which sounds
Yeah,
really weird probably, but like it takes more energy for me to actually read the book than listen to the book.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and on my website, I've got special editions out, just so you know.
There
Oh.
you go, Tara.
My okay, so I know I just said that romance is dead with my husband. But I'm going to point out that it may not because today is my son's birthday and so my husband is looking for a push gift for me that he started this year. He's just buying me a present every time the kids have a birthday. And so he
That's
asked
fun.
me like what I would want. So maybe I can steer him in this direction of like a book.
I love this.
That works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never
I'm
heard of
like
push gift.
well, it's supposed to be when you have the
Yeah, yeah,
baby,
yeah.
you get a present. Well,
Yeah.
he didn't have this idea until 12 years later. And so he's like, "Well, I'm just gonna do it now." I'm like, "Okay, like
Better late than never.
it's fine." But yeah, he asked me. He's like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "I don't know." So thank you for giving me an idea that I
Special
can give
edition.
him
Okay. Special edition.
Yes.
because I might be like book dragon with my
Hoarding.
my books.
It's awesome.
Sariah, so Tara's birthday month last year, I read The Chemistry of Love, and I'm a big like STEM romance girly too, like Allie Hazelwood, right up my alley. But The Chemistry of Love, you had this idea in the book, and it was the mood color changing lipstick. Where do you collect these little ideas and sprinkle them into books? Do you just when you think of something, do you
That one,
capture
yeah.
it somewhere?
With the chemistry of love, I knew I wanted her to be in STEM. And I knew that there'd be 2 brothers where she is in love with one but fake dates the other. I knew that going into it. And I actually don't remember where the mood changing lipstick came from, but I thought it'd be such a good way because the romantic comedies that I write are sweet. I will tell you that the romantasy book 3, it is not sweet. It is open door. Just to be prepared. So,
Oh.
like, I feel like I have to warn people because I've had this brand for so long, that I get to tell people,
Mm.
it was all closed door before. Guess what? But so when you're writing closed door and you want to up the tension and you want to, I can't do stuff that other authors do, right? Like you have to go different ways. And I thought if I have this way that she's revealing her feelings without knowing that she's doing it, that she is attracted to him, that she is falling in love with him, I thought that would be really fun. Yeah, I found a cosmetic chemist who went to the same university as me. Like it was so random. I said, "This is really weird, but can I talk to you?" And she's like, "Oh yeah." So we like sat and talked for like a couple hours. And a lot of the stories that she told me, like drinking the thing out of the beaker that was not water, she actually did that. And um, the whole when he comes over and her face is the wrong color, that happened to her as well. Same exact thing. I said, "Can I use these?" And she's
Oh,
like, "Oh yeah."
no.
So it was so funny too because I got some people saying, "No cosmetic chemist, no chemist would ever." And I'm like, "Well, one did."
Of
So
course.
it happens.
Here's her
But
name. Okay,
yeah, I
take
mean,
it up with her.
it was so funny. But yeah, I love that book, and I would say out of probably all of my books, that is the heroine who is most like me. Thinks like I
Okay.
do. My brain works like mine does. Loves the stuff that I love. People are always like, "Oh, this one's like you." I'm like, no, I think probably it's chemistry of love. It's the most like me. Not entirely like me, but most similar. So
That was so fun.
I love this. I picked up on this again, but like the people making comments, like everybody's an expert behind the keyboard.
yeah,
And it's like, have you never heard of Jason and the Argonauts? Have you, like, just because you don't think it would happen doesn't mean it doesn't.
yeah. And you just get judged that way. That people will go into books with their own perceptions and their own idea of how things should go. And I will tell you too that was hard in this romantasy series because in book one you have no idea what's going to happen. You are on this ride, and I'm taking you on this ride, and you're just going along with it. Then the problem is that I realized is that people start having expectations, and there were
Mhm.
readers who were disappointed, who had loved book one, who were upset about A Vow of Embers because it didn't go the way they wanted it to go. And I get that, I understand that because now people have this is what I want to happen. This is what I'm looking for. I mean, a lot of people love it, so don't feel like you're going to read it and hate it. I don't hope that doesn't happen.
No,
But
no, I'm just now like, okay, wait, what did I expect to happen? And am I right or am I wrong? Like,
yeah, so people are looking for something else. I don't know. I will say though, in A Vow of Embers, that my editors made me tone Leah down because she was so much angrier, and it went on for so much longer. And they said, "Sariah, people are not going to like this," and it's true. And I'm like, okay, they're right because they've been right about this before. And so I did really tone her down, even
oh,
even
she's
how
still
mad she is.
feisty.
She's still feisty, but
Feisty.
she's pretty toned down. And like, have you gotten to the
Close
celebration
your
that
ears, Sandra.
happens? Yeah, the celebration that happens the day after.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So when I wrote that, my editor's like, "She's so mad." I'm like, "It is the day after. Like, really? She would still be this mad, you know?" But for her, it felt
Yeah.
like it was a long
Well,
time, because
and also, like, some of the comments that were being made and stuff, like, it just re-flares up her anger. It would
yeah,
mine anyway.
yeah, mine
I'm
too.
like, I'm gonna
So
stab somebody in the throat. I feel
No,
her
Tara
in
Tara
that
holds a
moment of
grudge too.
stabbing people in throats.
me too. That's why I wrote her that way because that's very much
Yeah.
me. So
Yeah. No, I am very much her too. I'm like, I would want to stab you in the throat for the next like 10 years. Come on.
yeah,
So violent.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
we can expect Open Door in book 3 is
mm-hmm.
about the same. These are pretty similar. Vow of Embers is longer, but
That number's
can we
longer. I
expect
think, yeah, it's long. I would have to go look at exactly how much it is. I think it's like 150, 160. So it's pretty similar to the other two books, but a lot happens. But again, in this book, I don't think anybody's going to guess where this is going, to be honest. I've heard people's theories, and I'm like,
do you just sit
nothing
there like
happens. I do. I do. It's so mean,
You're
but
wrong.
yeah, that's not going to happen.
Okay, so I ask all the authors this, but if these books or any of your books were made into a movie, who would you cast? Like, who is the person that you like visualize,
Like, this is
if there
probably the
is one?
question that like I seriously hate the most.
Oh, sorry.
Lord?
Because
Yeah.
I'm so bad at it. I'm so bad at picking people, but it actually has been optioned. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh,
Um,
I didn't.
yeah, a little production company is trying to get some inroads and see what they can do. So trying to get a studio to sign on to want to make it into a show, and they're thinking about it being a TV show, so that
Oh,
you can
That would
get
be
everything in.
amazing.
That'd be fun.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but there's a guy, gosh, what's his name? He's one of the people that was being considered for Zayden and Fourthwing, like Jackson Houston or something like that. I don't remember. When I saw him, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's
Oh,
like That's like Jason, right? Like I saw him and I'm like,
Okay, now I had to look this up.
he's on some Australian show. I'm looking up on my phone too. They had prepared a brief of who they saw playing different roles, and they had him like in that role.
How fun is that,
I thought that was
though?
really fun. Oh, I don't remember his name. What is his
I
name?
hope this happens.
I do too. I I know some people are very it's not like the book or things like that, and I agree with that, but, like, I love to see a different take on things.
It's Josh Houston. Sorry, Josh.
Josh Houston. Okay.
Heuston. I could see him in that role.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah,
okay.
he's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. I could also
I
see
like
him
him.
as Zayden, though, too.
Yeah,
Like
me too. So that's why I had him out there. I'm like, oh yeah, I can see them both. But I don't really have, because I think even if you want someone, like it doesn't happen that way. You know,
yeah.
it's more like they're thinking, who can we get as a name? Like they said, what if we got Millie Bobby Brown to play Leah? You know, like that would get studios on. You know, so they're just kind of investigating every angle, and they want to keep that stuff open so that it can go the way it needs to go. I don't want to get locked into something and be like, oh, I really want this person to play it, because then I'll be disappointed.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm happy for it to just be like, whatever, pick whoever. I'm good. I don't care. As long as you make it into a show, I'm fine. That's the dream, right? So
Right.
I would love it. But what's funny too is this production company is a husband and wife. The wife is Greek, Greek ancestry.
Oh,
And she's like, you captured the culture so well. I was
uh-huh.
so impressed. And I'm like, I don't know how. I guess just from all the research, like it just kind of filtered into my brain and it happened. But that was fun to hear. And they were actually saying that it would be cheaper to film in Greece, than anywhere
Yeah.
else. So if they did film it, they would probably film it in Greece. I'm like, oh my gosh, I would die.
Oh.
You're like,
We'll
"That's a
see.
trip to Greece, Sariah."
Yep. I would
Have
love
you
it.
ever
I've never
been to
been.
Greece?
Not to
Oh.
Greece. I would love to go. I've been to Rome, Italy,
Mhm.
but not Greece.
So my first trip to Greece was this year, actually,
Oh, fun.
and I adored it because my husband's family is from Italy. So
Mhm.
we made trips around Italy too. Oh, I hope you get to go to film your show.
That'd be
I hope that
awesome.
that's your
Let's hope it happens.
introduction to Greece.
I
That
know, and
would
I feel
be
bad. I
amazing. And Fate's working in.
yeah, I put up a post about it. People are like, "Oh, your TV show." I'm like, "No, no, no. We're in the very first step. There's so much more to go. This is just the very first step that they take." And so, I hope it does. I would love it, but who knows?
It would
Why?
translate so well to screen.
Mhm.
I think so, but I'm biased, so
Well, we're gonna cross our fingers for it too, because I
Mhm.
would
thank you.
love to see that.
I would too.
All right, Sariah. So the next book is December
16th.
16th, I believe. Yeah,
16th.
I knew that right off the top of our head.
Not that I'm counting down or anything.
Well, keep an eye on my Instagram because I may or may not have some arcs of A Curse of Ashes in my house right now. So
Ooh, okay.
May
Sandra,
the
not
I'm gonna
odds
excited
be
need you
ever
to
in your favor.
help me keep an eye on the Instagram here.
Yeah, I signed up because I did it for A Vow of Embers and it was really fun because usually it's like, oh, who has the biggest reach? And I'm like, I want people who love this story. People are like, I give this 5 stars. I adored this. I'm like, show me your post, what you said about it, and you're entered. And I just picked randomly. So it just went to all different kinds of people. It was really fun because I said, I didn't contact them. I'm like, you don't know, it's just going to show up at your house. So people were like waiting and watching, and it was really fun. So I'm like, I'm gonna do that again. It was fun.
Yeah.
Aw, spreading a little joy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we do know that there are arcs for that.
Yes.
So we'll just be stalking the page, Tara.
Yeah. I haven't posted about it yet. I meant to, but I will soon.
Damn social media. Yeah.
Yeah, as Sandra said, I am not the social media person. I am more the
Does anybody want to be the social media person?
I
It's
don't
so
know, you're a lot better at
exhausting.
it than me. I just figured out that I can't send pictures to a person I was talking about a tattoo with, and I'm like, "Why can't I send a picture?"
Ah, it hates
So
us all. Yeah. Well, I love the first one. I want to read the second one again, so I might like audio and like fully immerse read that one again before jumping into the second one because there's a lot to remember and pick up. But
mhm.
There is.
I do feel like these books are gaining more attraction too. Like I'm seeing them more and more, especially on Instagram too.
That's awesome.
So
Well,
I'm excited.
on Instagram, I mean, the reason that this company found my book was because of Lauren at Book Huddle on Instagram because she posted about it and they follow her.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I told her, I said, I'm not going to send you something. But this makes me into a TV show. I'm sending you a present, like that'd
Yeah.
be awesome. But yeah, I thought you don't know. You don't know what kind of reach you have.
Uh-huh.
You don't know who's watching and who might open a door. You just don't know.
I love all of the things that have happened along your journey to getting to this point, Sariah. Thank you for sharing those with us.
Yeah.
All right. So, Sariah, where can people find you on the socials
On the
or your
social,
website?
my website is sariahwilson.com, and I'm on Instagram and TikTok as Sariah Wilson Author. And I think I'm on Threads as that too. I remember right? Yeah. So that's kind of where I am. Instagram and Threads mostly. I'm trying to do TikTok, but I am too old. I'm sorry. I can't do it.
Too. I give up.
I give up. I tried.
Yeah,
I
it's
want to go viral
okay.
on TikTok. It didn't happen. So
You have to do dance moves, I think, over
I
there,
guess.
and
Yeah.
we don't dance.
Yeah. That's not me.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Sariah. It was our pleasure, and we can't wait. Tara and I have discussed, we're going to do a little Vow of Embers deep dive ourselves to talk all the spoilery things because we love doing these recaps with listeners.
Well,
That's
we've
awesome.
had quite a few listeners who are like, "Hey, you read the first one.
Where's the second?
When you gonna do the second one? We're gonna need to like have some talks about this."
Yes.
So
This will be perfect.
yeah.
Perfect time before
I'll
the
have to
third one.
watch, and I can listen
Yeah.
and see what you think.
Yeah, I threw out like a lot of theories the first book, and I'm not really. I'll have to go back and listen because I don't know what my theories were during the first book and see if any of those were right.
That is
But
part of the fun of it too.
yeah, we just kind of like spitball in the moment, and then we're like, "Oh, yeah, I was wrong."
We were so off base. But thank you so much, Sariah.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, our pleasure. All right. Everyone, go check out Sariah's books. She has lots of them out there, contemporary romance to romantasy, with some spin-offs coming. And until next time, we will see you soon. All right.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.